Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Bureau Keynotes. Glad to have each and every one of you on. I am excited, always excited about this call because we get to hear wonderful people deliver keynotes, and tonight is no exception. This young lady wowed us last week with her first keynote for us, and she's back for an encore. So I'm about to introduce her and get out of the way. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Reverend Joy, Mama Joy Ramza, with her presentation, The Power of Trust and Faith. Know the truth and bear better fruit.
Yes, 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 yes. This afternoon, we're going to deal with trust. Trust and power, trust and faith. The power of trust and faith. Trust is the foundation of every healthy relationship. But what happens when the trust is shattered? What happens when the trust is betrayed? And today I want to share with you how I'm rebuilding my life right now after experiencing some real unimaginable and ex- experiences that I really have had a great difficulty in saying it, and I have been in silence. As this is my second effort on this topic, but I'm adding the faith because I realized that I needed to give more experience of how I got to this point. You know, every expression, when you move to higher levels, is based upon an experience. And sometimes those experiences are so horrific and so paralyzing until you just can't seem to verbalize it. At least that's for me. That's what I had. I'm a mom and a grandmom. And I'm going to share with you some stories that I may have given people just a little peep of it. But I want to tell you about a love went south, went sour, and turned into a nightmare. Sent me into a hell full of fire, but no flames. And you might be surprised to learn that I'm finding my voice right now, finding my voice through this opportunity of being with you tonight on the Keynote Bureau. As I said, our lives are built upon our experiences. And so often we live through the experiences, not understanding the purpose of and having faith in us overcoming them and trust the faith to walk us on through. One thing I spoke about my mother, and I think it's important to understand that we sometimes live the life of our parents. And why I say that, even though we're different, our parents are physical, but sometimes we inherit mental, emotional, and other things from them and not even realize it. I had this situation that happened when I was in high school. Tuition was only $10 a month, the Catholic school. And I loved telling stories about my mom because she would always come home and tell us all these wonderful things that would happen she was with the premature, and she would tell about these babies and how they had to hug the babies, hold the babies, and how she loved loving them. and finding that some of that had were supposed to die made it through because they found love and they found trust in the breast that she would hold them in. And I was in the principal's office and I was excited as I was telling the principal about my mom. And she walked in and she had told my mom, she said, "Oh, I've heard a lot of wonderful things about you." And my mother said, "What did you hear?" And she said, "Oh, you work in the preemies and blah blah." And I took the story over, right? And I trusted that my mother would feel good about it. But instead she said, "Oh, I'm nothing. I'm nothing." I said, "What?" She says, "Yeah, I'm nothing. I'm nothing. Whatever I do, it's nothing." And I said to myself, "What are you saying, Mom?" And she says, "I am nothing. And what you're talking about is nothing. Nobody want to hear that." And I said, "Mom, you're saying that if you're nothing, you're saying the same to me." And why am I saying that? I was hurt. And so many things my mom did, and I didn't realize it until after my talk of last week that my mother, in her love for me, in her desire to protect me, she fed me many things that really did not benefit me. How high can you rise if your mother's claiming she's nothing? How far can you go? That's troubling, isn't it? She could not accept my joy over her. Well, life goes on. As I say, trust is a foundation and faith is a power that you only know. You only know what trust is and what true faith is if you're willing to live and be true to yourself. I'm developing my voice. I'm learning how to trust in my voice. I'm learning how to trust in my voice and move from out of my mother and listen to this with a greater love because I'm beginning to understand the pain that she had. When I got ready, had enough strength to move away from my mother, she was crying and saying, "You can't live, you can't leave, you can't leave me." I realized that something was really wrong. I got married. I believe now I got married because I wanted to run away. That was my savior. Okay. And if you know about running away, uh, when I was a kid, they had the show How to Marry a Millionaire. Well, he wasn't a millionaire, but he was a very handsome guy, and he had was studying to be a priest. And I always thought I wanted to have a man of God, right? But I realize now that there was not really love, or true trust, or true love, or a true anything, just a fantasy of life. And now I'm beginning to find out these experiences for me to get to the reality of what life is all about and the power of real truth and faith through going through hell. This man that I loved, I thought I loved and cared about, had beat me many times. And so what I did, I ran away again. But this time, when I ran away, I hope you follow me. I was pregnant. So I wasn't by myself. I'd been to the police station many times getting peace bonds. And it's kind of difficult to express how you can move from glee of love and all of this expectations of life. And now I'm running away, escaping abuse. Can't take it anymore. But now I've got another piece of bag. I got a pregnancy here. This man was in such a rage. I hid from him. My sisters helped me. They hid me. I was grateful for that. And I had faith that they would cover me, and they did. I was gone there for more than a month, and there was another apartment that opened up right across the hallway. I wasn't there but about a week, and then a bang at the door knocked and said, "I know you in here. Open it up." My heart sank. I didn't answer. He said, "You better open this door," as he was banging on me. I said, "My God." All of my thoughts just rushed. What am I going to do, Lord? There's no back door. There's only one door in, one door out. But then I said, well, there's a storm door, there's a steel door, and then there's a regular door. So he can't get to me. He was in such a rage. He was in such a rage until I heard one door slam against the wall. I said, Jesus, this man is really trying to get in here to me. And then I heard the storm door, not the storm, the steel door, the security door, the one that's like the accordion, starting to groan because I could hear the nails weakening at the seal of the door. Oh, Jesus, this man is going to get in here. And then finally he got to the wooden door. I told him, I said, look, I got a knife here. And I'm gonna kill you with this knife if you get in here. Well, believe it or not, he got through that door. And he came at me and he knocked me, but he didn't knock me all the way down. And I took the knife and I swung it. But listen to this. You heard about the kinetic system, right? Well, I was swinging to the right. And with my swiftness, I went back to go back left, right? But my body kept going to the right because this body had another body in it. And it too was subject to the law of the kinetic. And I realized, my goodness, if I go this way, my body will continue. So here I was trying to get my balance, and I realized that I was in a different situation. I couldn't defend myself. I'd never been ever in my life in a situation where I couldn't defend myself. And here I was with this unborn child in my womb, and I'm trying to defend myself. How do I protect this child? Trusting God, I have no help here. My thoughts racing. I have no help here, no one here. No one's hearing my screams. So when he knocked me down the next time, I attempted to get up, but I wasn't too able to do that because the stomach was so big I couldn't get both of my hands on the floor. And this man walks over to the sink and he gets water, fills a pot with water in it, and he pours it on the floor. No, first it was the glass. Then he pours it. Then he lift up my heel and he pushed my body. And so I was tempted to hold to the legs of the chairs and the tables to resist it. But then in doing that, I could feel the baby just being knocked. I said, God, what is this? And the first thing that came to my mind, if you can just feel me for a moment, I had to make a choice. I had to stabilize my child. I had to stabilize this life that was in me. So I grabbed my belly and I noticed that, and I clutched it and I stiffened it up. I could kind of control it as he was dragging me across the floor. But he went to the sink again, and this time he got he put water in it, and I was trying to get up. But I realized that even if I got up, I couldn't defend myself. He poured that on me. And I prayed, God, what can I do? What am I going to do? Because if I get up, it's just going to be a battle. And what damage would I do to this child? And my thoughts were raising, but I trusted that something within me, because I could feel the presence of something in me. And I said, and I heard this shall pass. And I said, what? This shall pass. And I held my body. And he poured all that water. But this time it was a little easier because there's more water on the floor. So he really mopped me up. And he went up under the first as I was going, I I looked up to the ceiling and I said, oh, where those stains come from? Something happened. My faith in this is going to pass over. And I said, the faith that I had it was going to be okay allowed me to get into a frame of mind where I became an observer in this experience. My head hit the stove, and but I looked up and I said, "Oh, this is right over the stove. So they must have had a pressure cooker." Hmm. I've been in a house. I've been there for months and never looked at the ceiling. Then my head went up under the chair. It was all ripped up. I said, "Oh wow, it's dirty under here." Then my head went up under the table, and along the table were piles of chewed up gum. The mind, my sisters and brothers, is a powerful, powerful tool, which I didn't ever think about. I was moved out of the horror, even when in the midst of it, even when in the midst of it, the power of trusting in that higher power and faith that it's going to be okay. We get through this. And I held tightly so that when he moved me, I became like the mop. Sometimes we want to battle and we need to just be still. And I realized that when I encompassed my belly with my arms as tight as I could, that when he moved me, I was moving, and my child moved with me and sang. And we were all going, thank you. Then before I knew it, he'd grabbed my hair and twisted it. I heard a crack, but that was the end of that. Only God knows what happened. I don't remember any more than that. Life, we must trust, learn how to trust a higher power and be in alignment with that. On another occasion, because for some of us, when a relationship goes south, we don't know when enough is enough. I went down to the police station, got a peace bond. And you know what? They laughed at me because I was bruised up. But they laughed at me. They said, we know you're going to go back to him. You do. These were officers. I should have been getting some compassion, right? But it's something about a system that we live in where this coercion and this putting down women and putting down the wounded and devaluating us makes life difficult. But I'm here to say this, that God was with me. I've learned how to forgive. I wanted to forget. And now I have children and grandchildren. And now I have that child that was in the womb. She suffered a lot. And sometimes I hear my voice in the things I said during that time in her. So we don't understand that even the babes, we're teaching them in the womb, our behavior, our conversations. So we've got to learn how to protect the unborn because they're there. They're with us in everything that we do. And now I see her, I see this telling the story, and she's been criticizing me about my talking about my mom. But you see, I'm going to have to tell this story because she's going to have to learn the truth of how it was once upon a time when she was not even in the light of this life, but she was present. Why she had such a rage, why she gets depressed, why she has difficulty in forming relationships. And she stood just about 3 days ago saying, why am I like this? And so you're hearing the story. And this is my practice. So I'll be able to tell her of why the rage is in her, why the pain is in her. And she can't put her finger on what happened. So my course of action is that when you see a woman that is pregnant, or you know a woman that's having an abuse, let them know. Trust. Trust in the power of whatever they call God, or whatever worship, whatever. Because there's something within us that will make us stronger and empower us. But more importantly, it is so important that we do not remain silent. Martin Luther King said the tragedy of the good people is that we stay silent and we have these secrets. How can we get over? How can we bring any healing? And so I've learned. So maybe this is God's way of allowing me to live life longer so I can see this beautiful child that was in my womb, causing me to remember what happened to me and her. And hopefully, this will be her healing day. Hmm? So I thank you for this opportunity. I say continue to trust, knowing that there is a kind of faith that you can only speak about when you've experienced and had to try it. And all I can say is that you know that day that forgiveness is necessary and to tell your story so that those who come after us will be able to have the buoyancy that they need to come forth and be victorious. Not 50 years later. She's now 50 years old, but her mother's learning. You can't run away from the past. You've got to stand strong and know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. So trust in the power of faith and truth, and in that, know when it comes, we'll be bearing better fruits. Okay? So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Namaste.
Mr. Field, do we have time for questions? We have time for questions, Mr. Field? Okay. Anyone have any questions for Mama Joy? Fine. All right. Well, if there are no questions, if we can all unmute our mics and give Mama Joy a round of applause. Woo!
Woo!
Unbelievable.
Wow.
My
Absolutely
goodness.
Wow.
spectacular.
My goodness.
That's one of the
All
best
right.
presentations I've seen ever. Of all the,
Mm,
I've seen a lot of presentations too in my 73 years, but that was one of the best presentations I've seen ever. I know
I
I'm not supposed to say it to the end, but I can't help myself. I'll give the critiques at the end and the kudos at the end, but man,
mhm.
I'm just I'm humbled that I was able to sit there and sit through that.
Yes, yes, sir. Yes,
Anybody
sir.
else?
Yes, we're to our praise period. Dion and then
Yes.
Sister
Yes, you know
Booker.
me.
Yeah.
Oh, Mama Joy. I just wanted to go out and just give you a hug. A lot of things that you were talking about, I'm 58, 59 right now, and the things with my mom, and it was just like you brought me in and you kept me there. And then what you went through, it just, I mean, and the way, and like, you didn't just tell us, I mean, you gave us the story that was just, I mean, I couldn't not stop hearing, and feeling what you put out there. And a good person talking does that to you, you know. And I really do just want to say, wow, you are awesome. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. I told Grace, thank you, yeah. You know, I just love your face. You remind me of a baby doll. I just, every time I see you, I want to just hug you.
Sorry I don't have the picture on. You know, it's late at night, and I'm
No
comfortable.
problem, no problem. I thank you for receiving. I texted Grace. I said, I am not ready. I I'm not ready. I said I didn't give an intro. I did. Oh, I just was all I would have, and I had so much in.
If that's not being ready, OMG.
Exactly.
When
Okay,
you are
Dion.
ready, you are going to blow the socks off of millions of people. You know,
Yeah.
they need to hear your story
Yeah.
and the way you say it, the way you give it. It's
Her face,
I'm
the way her
telling you.
face talked to us.
Yes.
Right.
Who else would like to add to the
Miss Miss
praise?
Evelyn.
Oh my goodness, I'm exhausted. That was simply phenomenal. I'm sitting here on the edge, thinking what in the world would I have done in a situation like that? And for you to maintain your composure and knowing that he was coming through one door and then the next and then finally the wooden one.
Hmm.
Uh I had tears just imagining what you were going through, but your delivery was phenomenal. Um, so many emotions came to mind, but congratulations on a job well done. Stellar, stellar.
Hmm. Thank you. I'm so blessed to be able to share.
Mm.
I'm so grateful for the opportunity to share. Thank you. Thank you. Excuse me.
No, thank you. Good gracious.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta throw something in here.
Please, Mr.
There,
Galloway,
there's
go ahead.
We were
there's
hoping.
no there, there's no way. I, if you can feel how much my heart is pounding from you relating your story, and I'm gonna have to say, they speaking is about storytelling. That is the epitome of storytelling right there. I mean, the epitome. And I'm sitting up, my heart is pounding so hard because every step when you was talking about him coming through the door, through the bars, I'm thinking of when, as you know, I've told the story how my stepfather, killed his mistress in front of our house. And I'm thinking of when we were in the house and my stepfather, with them same bars on all the windows and doors, had me and my mother hemmed up in there and we were fighting him for our lives. And I almost watched him kill my mother right before my eyes. Thank God for the chandelier that caught the Kirby vacuum cleaner from him swinging down and hitting her. And this continued on, and my mother ended up in another occasion, another one of his rages. She ended up stabbing him 29 times. And he managed to live through that after dying 4 times on the operating table. He ended up living through that. And still, she was back with him and took care of him until 2006 when he passed. And I'm sitting here listening. My chest hurts because it's pounding so hard from listening to that. I almost started crying with you, because I'm feeling everything. I know exactly everything that you're talking about, what you're going through. And I'm like, wow. And I'm sitting here thinking, look, I have been, I have been the abused. And as a grown man, and I can say it because I ain't ashamed to talk about it because I'm not that man today, and I have been the abuser. But that right there made me think about, my own situation and how you think you in love, and you said when you got married, you were running away. I got married to prove that I was better than my family. And I ended up marrying someone that was more dysfunctional than I was. And I carried that for 38 years. I carried that despite the madness. I love your story. I love you. I love how you present everything. I just, I can't even get more out. I just love it. I love you. Thank you. Like I said, I love, sharing stories to heal people, but you don't know what you do for others. That moved me, that touched me sincerely. And I just love you. I just love you.
Thank you. Wow. Wow. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for receiving it. Thank you. Thank you for receiving it. Appreciate that. Thank you. To God be the glory. Thank you. Mhm. Thank you. Mm.
Man,
When,
thank you, Mr. Calloway.
yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
hi, this
Go
is
ahead,
Sharon.
Sharon.
Hello?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, sir. Go ahead.
Hi, yeah, this is Sharon, Mama Joy's spouse. I've heard this story several times, and I've heard that her repeated, but every time she talks about it, it's different. And but this time was, yes, really became more. It, it's like I I thought I heard this story, right? But every time she talks about it, but especially now, it's a lot more clear, more uh she's saying it with more freedom, because when she first was saying it to me like 5 years ago, it was harder for her to say it a lot. She couldn't go in and explain it with freedom and expressive, but with a more freer tone. So I'm really grateful that she's able to keep going, and that was what I'm realizing, that this story I thought has a lot of potential in it that she's discovering. The more she talks, as she talks about it, there's a lot more into the story than even she has realized. And now the more she says it, the more she's digging deeper and bringing out more of the gold in the middle of all the pain. And she's discovering that pain, that gold in that pain, and she's bringing it out, and it's blessing other people and herself. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. I didn't know you were here. Thank you for coming.
All right. Anyone else before we turn it over to our master trainers? My goodness, Mama Joy.
Mm.
Before you go off, you could actually see, at least I could, the healing in you speaking on that. I'm looking as you were going on, I could actually see the healing. People don't realize, when you share like that, it's especially with your daughter. I went through many years myself, and I was always praying to God, why did you put me in this God-forsaken family? I hated my family for all that I went through, the rage of my father not being there, and nobody would ever speak of him. I talk to my father this day. The one person my father never and will speak about is my mother. He never speaks of her. Never. I don't know what happened, what went down, you know, but everything you said, I can relate to. To this day, he will not speak of my mom to this day,
Mm.
and you can see the healing. And I appreciated that because I know I'm on the right track to my healing. I can understand how your daughter felt because when you were saying what she was saying, I used to say those same things.
Mm. Mm.
So thank you again.
Yeah. Thank you for that comment, and my family, I haven't been able to really, I guess that's why I didn't really, I guess maybe I didn't want them here or whatever, but because they don't seem to understand, because they think I'm talking against my mom, but they don't understand that what you're saying is so true because I'm really liberating my mom. I'm liberating my mom because then I can accept her love without the pain because I could see her pain came from her mother. It's the kind of thing that you don't realize. It's generational pain that just goes by. And they say it's a curse, call it whatever. But if we learn how to speak the truth and do it the best we can and tell it in love, I pray that you were able to feel my love for my child as well as for my mother.
We felt your
Because
love.
I love her. I love her. If I don't tell the story, it's bound to repeat again. And
Well, you'll
that's what
realize your best speech today is going to be worse than your worst speech a year from now. Because
what?
Wait a
there's
minute.
three speeches.
So,
There's the one you plan to give, there's the one you give, and there's the one you'll give it the next time. So your best speech now is worse than your worst speech a year from now.
Oh,
You
come
just
on.
go. Did you look at your last speech?
Yeah.
Yeah. Watch this. You get a. You like watching the game go. You'll be very happy with the results.
Really.
I'm sorry, it's not my turn yet.
go ahead, Phil. It's fine.
No, keep going.
Mm.
Tracy, we want to hear from Tracy.
You're muted, Tracy.
I wasn't going to say anything because everybody said it. It was very amazing. It was very captivating. And what I wanted to say, it was very vivid. Like you could see, it's like you could feel yourself there, and it was so clear. That's the thing. It was so clear. That's how come it was everybody could feel it so much, because your words and your imagery created the picture to where it's like we could see, it's like looking at a TV screen and we could see you going through it and going through the situation. That's how amazing your words flowed through your story. So I just want to say good job, kudos, everybody, what everybody said, on point. Good job.
Mm.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Tracy. Thank you so much. Okay. Mhm.
Great. I'm now about to turn it over to our master trainers for the evening, all the way from sunny Florida, the original award-winning humor consultants, Mr. and Mrs. Phil and Susan Sorrentino. Miss Susan, the floor is yours.
Mama Joy. Wow. When we talked last week and you put your program together, which is an excellent program that you did, and you're going to have different speeches for different occasions and different people that are hiring you. Some may not want that story in their, business and
Mhm.
type thing. They may want, motivation and those sort of things.
Mhm. Mhm.
What you did last week, you can come back and do that again and get that going. Um, this program you did tonight, which I 1,000% agree with everyone. I'm trying to keep from crying too, just feeling your pain um, and how, like everyone said, the story was just so vivid. It was, we could all picture it and see it because of how you told it. Um,
Mhm.
there are certain groups and places that need this message. I mean, everyone needs this message because you don't know. I mean, I woke up, our kids were still pretty small, and we lived in a 2-story house. And I looked out, I woke up for some reason around midnight, and it was snowing. I was wondering if they were going to have school the next day. So I'm looking out, and the next thing I look and I see all these flashing lights, and policemen are at the neighbor's house.
Mm.
And so I, my nightgown and all, I think I threw on some clothes, um, went out to see, what was going on. And it was an abuse situation.
Mm.
and he had beaten her, and so I had to, I didn't even know her. I mean, all of our other neighbors I knew really well, but they were, they didn't participate in anything. So I went to the hospital with her and the whole bit, and stayed all night, and they put us in a hotel for her protection and all those sort of things. And then she um, planned her escape
Mm.
and what she was going to do and leave him within a week. And so I knew this, and she wanted me to help her with it. And I'm thinking, you know, oh my gosh, I don't want him to come after us, but I must do this. And so he was going to some meetings during the day that day. So I went over real early and we just packed up as much stuff that we could. And she had a little U-Haul thingy and put everything in it, and off she went, and went home to Atlanta or somewhere. And I'll never forget that, and how she looked and the abuse. He stomped on her, and all those things. So it brings that back, and my point on that is there are going to be people in your audience, that are going to have those things, and you'll be able to do breakout sessions with this, to sit with people and a round table and help people in that way. But and it's good for all of us to be aware of, because you don't know around you who may be suffering, who may be hurting. That so it can really go to a lot of audience, and you're just a natural. I mean, you wove the story. You had us on the edge of our seat. The compassion, the feelings that everyone has felt, and you had a good close. um, I think when you close, and then don't keep, like if you're there on stage, when you do the close, and then pause, and the meeting planner will come up and take the mic, and then they may open it up for discussion and things like that. Or, if you want to go to room A, B over here, Mama Joy will be there, to visit with you. It just depends on the circumstance. So I'm getting you to think how you can take this out into the marketplace.
Thank you. That's right.
Yeah, there's so many organizations that would benefit. Everybody would benefit. Men need to sit there and hear this.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we've
Thank
all
you.
been abused in one way or another.
Yeah.
Chances are we've all been abused. I could hear the nails weakening. What a line. I could hear the nails weakening. I mean, oh my God. Let's talking about word pictures. Your pacing was unbelievable. I have a tendency to talk too fast. I've had people tell me that my whole career. Your pace was wonderful. You were just having a conversation with us. It was like you were just talking to me individually. You had about 3 stories in there, which was great. Again, I want you to watch this. You get a copy and watch it, like watching your game film. But there's like I spoke for Victims Assistance Conference. They had Mothers Against Drunk Driving, Parents of Murdered Children, Victims of Incest. By the way, at that convention, they changed their name to Survivors of Incest. I had 600 people and spoke to them. So that was sponsored by the state of Ohio that worked with those 3 groups. And then I went to Minnesota, and where else I went someplace else. So there's a market out there for what you have to do. And again, your face just speaks to us. It's your eyes pop when they're supposed to pop. Like I said, that was one of the best presentations I've heard, and I've heard thousands of them. You did a super, super job. Thank you for sharing your gift with us.
Thank you. Well, I just say I've been coached. Susan talked with me last week, and I listened to you all last week. So I did my
Yeah.
best to stay true to what she told me last week.
Yeah, and as you're weaving it together, Les Brown says, "Who are you? What do you have? Why should I listen?" And then I like to add a fourth one. What should I do? What do I need to do? So when you're structuring your presentation is who are you? I want to know, who is this person in front of me? Well, what do they have? Well, how do they what they have? How would I value from what they had? And then what do I got to do to get the value that they're telling me? If you structure your speech in that way, and you've got components in there that you can put that. Now, my signature story is, dad dying, ADD, dyslexic, adopted, the whole thing. And there was so I would always use it. And then for about 9 months, I didn't use it. I said, I don't need that anymore. I would look at that as a crutch. And I really didn't. But then I finally realized I was cheating the audience the opportunity to hear who this person is in front of me. So then I added it back to my presentation. So you'll play with your thing and you'll have some fun with it. And by the way, you look great. Your earrings are super. They weren't too flashy. They were just perfect. The flag is wonderful. You could use this, could be your demo tape. And people say, what did you do? You say, well, I did a little 20 minutes with a client of mine on just my story here. I'll let you, then I can customize my program based on what you want me to focus on. You want me to focus on communication? You want me to focus on team building? You want to focus on dealing with stress, dealing with change? That's how you get the audience to then you get specific, but you take your presentation and fit it into that one. But thank you very much for sharing that with us. That was, and you got the time that you talked about your daughter. I was saying, well, when's he going to tell us about the daughter that was in her stomach? And then you did just that was the perfect timing. You said it right when I was thinking it. Yeah. But thank you very much. Somebody's got to tell Antonio he's got to look at this. Grace.
Oh, he's listening. He's over the phone.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you. Thank you. Really. Thank you.
Yeah. One more time, let's unmute our mics and give Mama Joy a round of applause. Woo!
Yay, yay.
Yay, Mama Joy.
Good
Yeah.
job. Right. Next week, we've got Mr. John Calloway. He is up
I'm
next.
gonna need a bye
Whoa.
week. I'm gonna need a bye week because to go behind that, that's like the Super Bowl right there. I'm gonna need a bye week. I need
No,
extra training.
you want to follow good, because then you can take him to the next level. If I had the president of Caterpillar comes up to me and say, "Boy, Sorrentino, you're a piece of work." He followed me. I said, "No, Mr. Despain, you should be happy I was good, because if I'd have sucked, you would have had to bring him up from the dregs. Because I was good, you were able to take this audience to the next level." He said, he stopped for me and said, "You're right. This is the president of Caterpillar." He said, "You're right." And we became really good friends. I would visit him when I came down to Florida, and I haven't talked to him in a while. I need to talk. He would send me stuff. It was really neat. So you want the person to do the front of you to be good, because you can then take him to the next level.
Man, I got to go dig out some stuff, man, and bring the A game.
Yes, you do.
You bring it in. You bring it, John.
Bring it in. You bringing it in. You bringing it in. Yeah. Well, I just want to say thank you all again. Appreciate it very much. I want to work this out. I really want to do and have different story. I'm just floored. I really wasn't I really wasn't ready, but I trusted. I trusted. I trusted and I had faith. And it
Luke
worked.
12:11. When brought in front of the judge and magistrates, give not thought to the words I speak, let the Spirit flow. See, today's audiences don't want you to present, they want you to be present. And that's a subtle difference. It's like TV. We had soap operas, then we had talk shows. What do we have today? Reality TV. Today's audiences either want to be the stars or they want to be able to relate to the stars. So part of our job as presenters is to present it in a way that the person understands what we said, and then they take that information and use it and benefit from them being in front of us. And when you do that, that's how you become a superstar out there, and you become attraction as opposed to promotion. And you've got it all there.
I know it's
All
time to
right.
go, but I have a quick question for Mama Joy. Where is that ex-husband today?
Uh, well, he is doing quite well. He just bought a shopping center down on the east side of New Orleans, and he's doing quite well. Doing quite well. Doing quite well.
Interesting. Thank
Mhm.
you.
Yeah. Hmm. He's been married. I think he was married like about 4 times. Well, whatever. But and he's by himself. And one of the things, thank you, Sister Evelyn. One of the things that um, I had to get back into communication with him. It started me was the fact that my son has children, and they wanted to learn of their grandfather. And his wife, she took them to New Orleans to meet the granddad. And I said, "Whoa." And so when we had a graduation and she had her 16th birthday, I was able to sit across the table and have a conversation with him, you know.
Wow.
Mhm. Yeah, because of the grandchildren. I had to consider their not only their healing, but how I demonstrated respect to their grandfather, whom they loved. They don't know the story, but they knew love, and he responded there so wonderfully with them, and so he's been present with them, and I'm happy about that. Hmm.
Well, you're to be commended. I tell you.
You know, I and I'm going to just close this like this. You know, I learn a lot every time I find myself in a situation, and I wonder what I learned the profundity of what Jesus said on the cross. He said, "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do." And there's healing in that because we don't know what anyone has had to go through or what their journey has been, what their mental state is. But I know the forgiveness is not really about them as much as me holding on to something that's not healthy for me. So, in order for me to heal, I have to let go. But I will not forget the story. And that's what's so important to me tonight is to be able to tell it as best that I can and let love be that which I anchor in because it was trusting in love and having faith and knowing that I was going to get through it. And I have many situations, but with Susan, you would tell me have fun and you all have getting feedback. All of this, what I went through is a part of life. I just managed to survive it. So what's the quality of life that I'm going to offer for myself or be open to if I don't let it go? And then show that there is life and there's joy. The storm will pass, right? It passes over. So, oh, weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. So I,
With that said, Grace,
All right, everyone. Well, thank you again, everyone, for joining us this evening on the Bureau Keynotes. Like I said, next week we'll have Mr. John Calloway, and the last Tuesday in January is still open, January 28th. So if anybody wants to get on the books for the last Tuesday in January or on the books for February, just hit me up, let me know, and I'll put you down. All right, everyone. Have a wonderful evening. You can plant better. You can dominate. Love you, everyone.
Love you
thank
more.
love
you.
you
Good night,
more.
everybody.
More.
Good night.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
Phenomenal. Happy New Year. Phenomenal job, Papa Joy.